Kenyans have today marked the Saba Saba Day, a day when protesters in Kenya demanded for multi-party democracy in 1990. Kenyans have always marked the day with several activities, among them pushing for better living conditions from the government amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Bushebi Jr. takes us back to where it all started.
Back in 1990, two political figures went to Kagen House in Nairobi's Moi Avenue. Controversial former Kitutu Masaba MP George Anyona and his neighbor in Madaraka Estate Njeru Gathagu's mission was to meet Kenneth Matiba, who had fallen in bad books of the ruling party KANU and thrown into political cold. Their meeting with Kenneth Matiba had been organized by former powerful cabinet minister Simeon Nyachae, who was now being treated as a KANU pariah. Matiba had been stripped of his ministerial positions and KANU posts. During Kenyatta's time, Matiba had backed a motion in parliament led by his colleague former President Mwai Kibaki that made Kenya a one-party state in June 1988. Fast forward to 1990, and KANU had betrayed both of them. Kibaki too had been demoted from vice president and was now the health minister. Kenneth Matiba made a decision that would change his destiny. On May 23rd in 1990, Matiba let out a political tsunami. With former cabinet minister Charles Rubia, he called a press conference in which he demanded the introduction of multi-party democracy. He also announced that there would be a rally on July 7th at Kamkunji, Nairobi. Hands stretched out into the air. Songs, bullet sounds, sirens, flashing of the two-finger V salute, and massive brutal beating by the police on Rated Road to Kamkunji grounds characterized the dreaded day in 1990. Iconic images of Martin Shikuku, James Orengo, Philip Gachoka and Rumba Kinuthia is etched in the minds of some 20 million Kenyans who are alive on the fateful day that marks the struggle for political pluralism in the country. The day is known by its Swahili translation, Saba Saba, in reference to the seventh day of the seventh month. It was the grey cold morning of Saturday, July 7th in 1990. Reaching Kamkunji had acquired an urgency, symbolizing a break in the rivers of the political repression. An attempted coup d'etat by junior Air Force officers 8 years earlier had floundered and given Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, only 4 years into his presidency, the excuse to turn the screws on all opposition. Dissent had been brewing in Kenya since Moi began consolidating political power by changing the constitution to ban multi-party politics and detaining critics, with some fleeing into exile. But the failed coup emboldened Moi to take away judges' security of tenure and to blatantly rig the 1988 elections and filled parliament with his lieutenants. The build-up of an outcry for a change still rang in the minds and hearts of many Kenyans then, leading to the 7th day of July 1990. Saba Saba Day, a day remembered when the nationwide protests that took place on that day rocked the country. Kenyans took to the streets to demand free elections and multi-party system inclusion into the constitution. The politicians who had called for the protests, Kenneth Matiba and Charles Rubia, were arrested days before the protest day. Other organizers of the day, such as Njeru Gathagu, George Anyona, Raila Odinga, among others, were beaten up and detained by the then tyrannical dictator President Moi. The seismic Saba Saba event was the first serious organized challenge to repression through defiance in Kenya. From onset, the Moi government declared the Kamkunji meeting illegal and arrested Kenneth Matiba, Charles Rubia and Raila Odinga 3 of the senior politicians who were organizing it before subsequently detaining them without trial. 16 months after Saba Saba, Moi grudgingly capitulated and agreed to term limits and to repealing constitutional bans on multi-party political organizing.
Glad to inform Kenyans that I have today assented to the bill as a sign of my commitment to political reform. When the elections are called, I urge all contestants to ensure that they conduct their campaign in a mature and peaceful manner.
Within months of the return of political pluralism, some 19 new political parties had been registered by dint of the efforts of state operatives, who also engineered a split inside the opposition forum for the Restoration of Democracy Ford Party. However, 30 years on, many of the people who are at the forefront of the movement have died or have been accommodated by the state.
And tell them we are the people.
Today, Kenya marks the 30th Saba Saba anniversary that comes at a time of great political apprehension, with the country in the throes of an economic meltdown and in the midst of a coronavirus pandemic. With the elections that will determine who will be the Kenya's next president just 2 years away, the fear that the country is slipping back into those bad black days of Moi and Moism has been echoed by many Kenyans. For Maisha TV, Saba Jr.